Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maurice Brown Show. We have a very special guest today on the Maurice Brown Show, an actress who is known for her work on The Association in 2015, Greenbelt in 2013, and most recently as part of the very popular faith-based series, which can be seen on PureFlix, The Chosen, written and directed by Dallas Jenkins. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show the very talented Karina Dominguez. Hello, Karina. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you, Maurice. How are you?
I'm doing great. It is awesome to have you on the show. And, you know, as actors and entertainers, this COVID-19 world makes life pretty difficult. What have you been up to in entertainment during this pandemic?
You know, I've been really fortunate throughout this pandemic to have work. One of the things that's kind of been keeping me afloat was a private voiceover gig with an education company doing voiceover work for education videos, math education videos for Spanish-speaking children.
Okay.
I've been doing that since the pandemic. Like as soon as everything shut down, I started working on that. Wow. And then other than that, you know, just a lot of Zoom theater, play readings, things like that. But I was also fortunate enough to land an on-camera role on the CW's Walker, which is the reboot of the Texas Ranger show starring Jared Padalecki.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's it like on set during the, what's the protocol like?
It is very thorough and very safe. I was really impressed with how the studio and the production have taken the pandemic very seriously and are really working to make sure that protocols are followed. So there's temperature checks, there are COVID tests for all the cast and the crew several days a week. Yeah. And, you know, there's like one person whose job was just to clean surfaces that are touched a lot. Yeah. So I was really impressed. I felt really super safe on set. So yeah, it was a lovely experience.
I tell you, it's amazing how people have all of a sudden learned cleanliness during this this pandemic. You know, I mean, yeah. if people are spraying everything, Karina, the dog, the cat, grandma, anything that moves. But I mean, it's a good thing. I mean, you know, absolutely. People are a lot cleaner than they ever were. So it's, maybe things will change for the better, you know, permanently. You know?
I hope so. I hope we certainly keep the hygiene standards this high.
We've got to do that, you know, and I think the voiceover industry for entertainers like ourselves, whether you're in comedy or acting, because you can do it from your home. I don't know if you have a studio set up at your, like I'm at home in my studio, and I'm able to audition for a lot of voiceovers and just acting roles. Like I don't have to go to the location of the shoot to audition.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I can just set up in my home office, and, you know, if I get an audition notification, I can just be like, okay, let me just do that. Let me just do my hair and makeup real fast, and then shoot it right here at home.
So there are some advantages, and I think this is actually, to a certain extent or degree, Karina, will continue with us once we return to normal, which is going to happen here, I think, fairly soon. This platform, I think, is going to go with us. What do you think?
I hope so. It's been really nice, especially, you know, sometimes I live in Texas. And so sometimes, you know, having to drive to another city for an audition, maybe they figured out that we don't have to do that and, you know, take time out of our day or their day, or, you know, figure out if people are going to make it because they've hit traffic or something happened on the road, you know, that we can just take from home and it's faster.
So, Karina, I saw you in episode 5 of The Chosen, a faith-based series which has become wildly popular.
Yes, it has.
It has become wildly popular, The Chosen. What was it like working on that project?
It was a wonderful experience. Sometimes, it's hard to tell what an independent project is going to be like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I can safely and confidently say that this production was on par with any studio project that I've been involved in. It was absolute quality from the cast that was hired, the crew that was hired. Just everything was just amazing. I was so impressed with the quality of the production.
Did you ever imagine, though, Karina, just if you can just take us back a moment when you were actually going through the process of, the sets and the takes and so forth and the talk, and did you ever imagine that the show would take off like this?
I think I had an inkling, absolutely, because it is a crowd-funded production,
Yeah.
and the production is not cheap. And
Right.
from
Right.
just seeing the quality of it, obviously really wanted this to happen, and because of that, because of the quality of the production, because obviously that is a high expense. Yeah, I had an inkling that like people are putting money into this
Okay.
because they want it to be good. They want to see it. So
Yeah.
I think I had an inkling that it was going to be something.
Well, Karina, when I look at Jonathan Rumi, who portrays Jesus, and I've said this several times during my show in reference to The Chosen and Jonathan Rumi in particular, and I'm not just saying this. I have seen a lot of faith-based content, whether going all the way back to Cecil B. DeMille from the 50s, which was pretty darn awesome. I mean, when you consider the 50s and they did what they did with that, which was amazing. But I've seen a lot of Christian productions, and I got to be honest with you, I don't think I have ever seen Jesus portrayed as well, as authentically, and as genuine and as believable as Jonathan Rumi. And that's not to take anything away from others that have portrayed Jesus in prior. That's not to take anything away. I just don't think I've ever seen it done as well as Jonathan.
Oh,
what was it like working with him?
We actually didn't get any scenes together, so I just got to watch him work, and he's just so committed to the role and to telling the story. And so I think that's what you're seeing on camera.
Yes, absolutely. Kurt Hoffman, thank you for complimenting my chair, Kurt. I love it, dude. This is a command chair for Space Cowboy. Thank you, buddy. Kurt Hoffman, he has his own video podcast I had a chance to be a part of last month. Awesome guy. But no, Jonathan is just so genuine. And there was another, I think it was episode 2 when he did with the children.
Yes. And I got to watch that actually because there's like a little cutaway scene when they're just going through the wedding reception. And he's just so present in that moment, watching him work with the children. And it's just, he's not acting at that point. He's just in the moment. Now,
I noticed you and Matt Swern, Matthew Jason Swern, in episode 5. He played your husband in that particular episode, and he was really good. You both were very good in that scene. But before I ask this next question, are there any plans or were you invited back for season 2?
I have not been. Okay. I think that that particular story is done, but I mean, you never know. But as far as I know,
you never know. And that was an isolated story indeed from the Bible where Jesus turns the water into wine. And so, that was kind of a contained episode. So I could totally understand that. But you and Matt were in episode 5. What was it like working with Matt Swern?
Oh, he was lovely. He was so lovely to work. He's so warm and personable and professional and so easygoing. So it was very immediately easy to be at ease with him and just be present with him and play off of each other. It was really great.
Yeah, he seemed to actually move through his performance with a tremendous amount of ease, And I mean, just as he hit the bullseye on all of his lines and everything. And I just love to work with people. Because I'm an aspiring actor. I was in Love Different in 2016. And I had the chance to work with Tommy Ford, who was on the TV show Martin from back in the 90s with Martin Lawrence.
Awesome.
And he was in Harlem Nights. He's been in a lot of good stuff. Very funny guy. And then also Jen Gottson, who was in the Oscar-nominated film Frost Nixon. So here I am. I'm a newbie. I had not, I won the audition, but I had never been in any project like that before. So, I'm just learning as I go. And one of the things that I find really amazing, and I could actually ask you this, is how actors are able to command the tears. Are you a good crier on set?
I think I am. I mean, anytime I've been asked to, I've been able to deliver. So
okay.
I would yes, I am.
Well, there you go. But we had that in the film Love Different, where there were some serious tears, and I was playing the bad guy in this scene, so I had to get emotional, but I didn't have to actually have tears. But the other two in the scene, they did, and I was just in awe, like, I mean, their faces were wet. We shot the darn thing too, like 14 times, only because they wanted different angles. And then invariably you will have someone that will, oh, we got to do that one again. You didn't get the line right or whatever, but it was mostly about, just different angles and what have you. And I'm like, wow, we have to do this again. After I'd done it the first time and nailed it, I said, oh, great. It was a long scene. And it was a long scene. I had a lot of verbiage. But I nailed it, and I was like, all right. Like you said, whew. And they're like, okay, let's do it again from this side. And I'm like, oh
no. What?
That was an experience, and having to do that again and again and again. And being a newbie to the set, you don't want to have to be the reason to do it again.
Right.
You definitely don't want that. So, the pressure I felt, it was a lot different from stand-up. Stand-up comedy is a different kind of pressure because you're live. And that you can kind of improvise through, though. Nobody knows your set but you. So if you mess up, you're the only one that knows.
Exactly.
But in acting, it's like, this has to be the way to. Have you ever met Donald Faison?
I have not, no.
He was in Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
And he was in the TV show Scrubs.
Yeah.
And his style is about improvisational. Well, I know the last movie he did was Church People, and I talked with Thor Ramsey, who's a comedian. He said Donald Faison pretty much improv'd a lot of his stuff. Now, some people are just they're so good, it's like you just want to keep it. I don't like that, but that was such a great take. We'll keep it. Yeah. Some people are able to do that, but now I have a lot of respect, long story short, Karina, for actors. Like, I have a newfound respect for actors. Like, it is really, really something that it's not necessarily difficult because you do enjoy it.
Yes.
But it's not as easy as it seems. It's like,
correct.
Whoa.
And that's our job, is to make it look easy.
Yes. And so you guys did a great job. You and Matt Sworn in episode 5. Like I said, absolutely loved it. Now, you've done some other things. You were in Greenbelt,
yes,
in 2013, where you played the lead role. Tell us a little bit about that film.
So that was a completely independent, no to low budget feature. So very much a labor of love.
Okay.
Completely written and directed by the same person, and that was, just kind of shot over a series of months, because obviously, there was no budget to pay people, so you couldn't really make a schedule. So it was just like, as people are available and if they can, and that was really just a good training for kind of a fly by the seat of your pants production. But I really loved the story. It was a love story. It's a story about our environment, and to just remember to love each other and to take care of the planet. It's the only one we have. I really enjoyed it. But that was definitely like some good training on just like guerrilla style filmmaking.
Well, and it also had an endearing message about, greed, more or less, at the end of the day.
Yes.
And so that was a very I did not get a chance to watch the entire film. I certainly
Very long.
watched the trailer, and what I did see was very impressive. It was well, it was a comedy, but but it was also serious as far as this is the way our world is, and now in 2021, you guys did that in 2013, and now in 2021, it's like really bad. So, but that was a good film. You did a great job in that feature film, and you've got quite an extensive background in stage acting. Now that is very similar to what I do as a comedian. It's live,
right?
It's live, and you got to get that darn thing right. That's that thing right there is a different ball game, because I actually did one. I did a church stage play where I got up. I started the play from my seat.
Okay.
And
wow.
I got up in the audience.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I got up and I started my scene, and I walked out into the aisle and walked over to the stage and wheeled around to the audience as I'm still going, and walked up to the stage and went out to the front and just started pontificating my scene. But it was a lot of pressure, because it's like at any moment you can forget everything. Matter of fact, I was very smooth. But when I got to the stage, I turned around, and it was a split second, Karina, where I actually forgot the next line. Yep. It was just a split second. But my wife knows when I've forgotten something, because I'll pause or I'll just make up some random word.
We all have a tell.
Yeah. and then it all came back to me, and it was smooth sailing after that. But what do you find more interesting or challenging, stage play or feature film acting?
That is such a hard question to answer, because they're both such different mediums. I mean, I guess the saying is that film is a director's medium, and stage is the actor's medium. But there's different reasons to love either one. I mean, with film, it's you get do-overs. If you didn't like that take, guess what? You're gonna do it again.
Yeah, you can do it again.
Yeah, and you have time to make different choices in those takes as well. With theater, you do have that immediate feedback from the audience, so there is connection in those moments, and you also get to tell the story from beginning to end all at once. So you get to play that character arc, that story arc, all the way through in one sitting. Where in film, it's like you do a little bit here, you do a little bit there, and you also get to discover a lot in the rehearsal process, because obviously, I mean, you have weeks and sometimes months, depending on the length of the play, to really go over it and really explore and play. And so, I mean, that's one of the things I really love about doing theater. But also with film, there's the permanence of it. It's recorded, so you can go back and see it. Whereas in theater, you don't. You have your 3-4 weeks of performances, and that's it. And then you never see it again. I don't know. I have love for both mediums.
Well, the one thing you don't want in feature film is when they have to get the B-roll out, right? That's when things are really going downhill quick. It's like, all right, let's go to B-roll. I've seen that. I actually saw that happen during the filming of Love Different, but that's a good film. That was very funny. Butterflies, though, invariably come into play, especially when you're doing, live performances. I saw an actors roundtable discussion with some pretty top actors in the industry, and they were talking about their experience in stage. And there was a process. I don't know if you've had this, because it looks like you've done a lot of stage. So I'd be interested to hear your answer to this. But they said that on some of the productions, they had like a bucket on the side of the stage if you needed it, before you went out or at any point in time during the performance. Judging by your reaction, that's something that's never happened with you.
Nope, I can safely say I have never thrown up prior to a performance.
Well, during the productions that you participated in, did they provide that type of avenue if it happened?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think, and I've never worked with anyone who's needed to throw up prior to performance either. So that's good. Now I'm going to be worried about that going forward.
Well, I was shocked to hear it. I'd never heard anything like that.
This is the
But
first for
I
me
think
too.
that, when you're talking about stage, live theater and so forth, the nerves are ramped up way more than I would imagine doing a film.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, I think what people call nerves is actually adrenaline.
Okay.
It's adrenaline. And so you've got your adrenaline kicked up. And, when I've encountered actors before, who are new to theater and are talking about like their nerves, and I tell them it's not nerves, it's adrenaline.
There you go.
You can either make that adrenaline work for you or let it work against you.
Yeah.
You can use that adrenaline to feed your performance, to give that energy that will connect with the audience. So that's what I always keep in mind. And say.
That's a great way to describe that. I heard an NBA referee say before the start of the NBA finals, he said, if you're not nervous, you're not breathing. So just ride with it and keep on trucking.
Yeah, just use that energy. Use it.
Yeah.
Make it work for you.
Do you also, you just answered the question really as far as what I was going to ask next about how do you handle it? Do you have a process? Do you have a ritual of keeping yourself calm before you go on to a live play?
I think just staying, I do, just staying grounded, knowing what I'm going out there for. I think that sometimes actors can work against themselves when they start putting their head in the audience and thinking about what the audience's reaction is going to be. And it's like, you can't control that. That is something that is completely out of your control. You can only control what you have been tasked with. So I just stay focused on my part in the story. I, give myself the pep talk that, I know my lines. I know where I'm supposed to be. I know what I'm supposed to do. I've been through it all in rehearsal. Yeah. I got this. Everything else is completely out of my control. And so I can't focus on that.
Yes. Yeah. And what I do as a comic, by the time I get to the venue, when I arrive, I don't want to look at notes. I don't want to talk about what I'm going to say. I don't even want to go over it in my head. I want to forget about as much of my set as I can and enjoy the evening and chit chat and what have you until it's time for me to go up, because I'm like, okay, here goes, as Jerry Seinfeld says, here goes nothing. You just go up there and let it rip. And invariably, like you just said before, if you've practiced, if you've rehearsed, if you've done everything that you could humanly possibly do to know your lines, hey, you just got to trust the process and then just let it rip.
Exactly. And you just let it go. You do all the work so that you can let it go.
And invariably, it all comes out. I mean, just the way you planned it, and that's how you defeat the nerves. But everyone has their own process, and I love to hear what people say as far as dealing with that, because it's a real thing, and everybody has and you know what, Karina, what I find interesting is the different methods that people have to stay calm.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing.
Yeah, one of the very first stage plays I did, I remember one of the actors kind of just gathered us all together, and we all held hands, kind of like, not quite like a prayer circle, but in a way. And just, he just said, know that we've done the work. Whatever happens out there happens. And it's going to be, I wish I'm more paraphrasing what he said. But, if you mess up, forgive yourself and move on.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. You can't get stuck in that moment where you messed up. Because like you said before, no one else knows the script. The audience does not know what you're supposed to say. So just move along. They're not there to see if you got anything word perfect, because they don't know. They're there for an experience.
That's it. And you just have to keep the show going and keep it moving. I have a friend of mine in comedy. You can't get within 10 feet of him before he goes on stage. There's this invisible wall of don't come near me.
Yeah. And that's his process.
And he's awesome. I mean, he's like hilarious, but he has to have that 10 to 15 minutes or 20. I don't know. It's like he cannot engage anyone. But that's what keeps him calm.
There you go. Yeah, everybody's different.
Yeah. Everyone's different. It's really interesting. Now, also in 2015, you were a part of the Association, which is a kind of a dark comedy, I think.
Yeah, it was
tell us a little bit about that.
It's a little bit of a horror comedy.
Okay.
So I actually had like a scene within the movie, so like a movie, like a movie within the movie, kind of thing. So I wasn't a part of the main narrative. But it was really fun. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just about, a homeowners association where actually everyone involved is a vampire.
Okay.
So I guess, I don't know if they were like making kind of like a commentary on modern suburbia kind of thing. But yeah, it was just kind of like a fun horror comedy. Yes,
yeah, that's exactly what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
What is in all of your years of acting, Karina, and being associated with acting, whether it be stage or play, or feature film, I mean to say, what is the biggest thing that you have learned about acting that has actually made you a better actress?
Being a person, just having other experiences outside of acting, like just having a full life, having experiences, having wins and losses, triumphs and failures, and just existing, because you can't be anybody else, because those people are taken. There's only one you, and all your experiences are unique to you. But those experiences can also inform your choices in acting, and they are valid, because other people may react that way or they may not. But being a whole person is what will make you a whole actor.
Interesting. I like it. And it's all about being complete and whole. Like, you can get lost, whatever your craft may be. Mm-hmm. If you take it too seriously, then you kind of can lose a little bit of reality or touch with reality.
Yeah.
And that's something that you don't want to have happen. Things change so much, from my day growing up. I'll give you a good example, like spankings and timeouts. It's like now they give you timeouts now. There are no more spankings. It's called timeout. And I don't know if that a timeout, it just gives the kid more time to figure out how not to get caught the next time.
Maybe. Although, it's funny that you bring that up. One of my older nieces, spankings did not work on her.
Oh, wow.
They did not. She actually was like, she would actually kind of challenge her parents, my sister and her husband. Like, whoa. Oh, she would say, oh, they would call it a pow pow. And she'd say, I like pow pows. They're fun. Like,
Whoa.
But tell her she's going to get a timeout. No, mommy, no, I don't know, not a timeout. So they can be pretty effective.
Yes, that is right? That is quite interesting. Skeeta, what's going on? Have you ever met Skeeta Jenkins?
I have not. No. Hello, Skeeta.
He's a very good actor. Matter of fact, he was in the faith-based crime series Vindication. Have you ever seen that, Joe?
I have a friend who is on that show. So
Peggy Schott.
Yes, Peggy Schott. Yes.
And excellent. So he was in episode 8 of Vindication. Very good actor. He's been in a lot of other stuff as well, but good actor. But no, I think that it's interesting that you said your sister, she kind of relished the discipline, I guess. But there are people like that. No,
Yeah.
Karina, you're right. There are people that are like that.
Yeah. The corporal punishment is not a deterrent.
Yeah. I was not one of those.
I didn't like
and I also when I was dealing with my mom, I had to remember to duck. There's a shoe that anyway, but yeah, it's a different day and time, 2021. And it's just different. It's just different. But I love your response there, Karina, to that particular question, because there's always a moment in a craft. In this case, we're talking about acting, where you go, okay, you start contemplating something, and once you do that, like when you realized, okay, I just need to remember to be a whole person and be a complete individual before I get too wrapped up into this stuff, right? When that happened to you, did that kind of like change everything for the better going forward?
I think so. Yeah, because I found that I would give my least impressive auditions when I was trying to figure out what they wanted me to be, as opposed to coming into the room as who I am.
Right.
And I feel that when I just walk in and I am who I am and I let me inform that those are my most successful auditions.
Yes. Now, Karina, in 2013, you played the role of Dr. Clara Reeves in a film called The Session. What was that one about?
That was a very interesting psychological thriller.
Okay.
Where there was certain like nefarious political elements involved. And so I was dealing with someone who really needed guidance and help, but there were other like outside factors that were a part of the drama that Dr. Clara Reeves could not control.
Okay.
And she gets deeper and deeper into this controversy, and it was something else. And that was kind of also another independent, low budget student film. Really, It was very ambitious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in playing the role of Dr. Reeves, did you have to get into a completely different mindset, away from, the actual set itself? Did you? Because some actors like kind of carry on their role, until the filming is over.
Right. Yeah. Kind of live with it. I guess I did a little bit, just because there was so much psychology involved with it. And so I did have to sit with it a little longer than I would have other roles, simply because she was so invested in what was happening. And so I needed to kind of do the same, and just to figure out, because there's a cat and mouse element in the film. And so when you have that, who's the cat and who's the mouse, right? And so in that, trying to figure out, as Dr. Reeves, am I the cat or am I the mouse? Like what is happening? And so there was a little more element where I did sit with it a bit more outside of when I was on set.
Yes. I'm trying to think of the actor's name. He's awesome too. But he actually remains in character literally for the entire time that film is being shot, from beginning to end. He just does his normal life is that character. Gosh, what is the guy's name? He's really awesome. I wish I could remember his name, but that's really extreme. But the guy's proof's in the pudding. He's one of the best actors around. And then we're getting back to stage and acting in theater. Denzel Washington, he does it every summer. He loves the stage so much.
That's so good.
You know, and I guess he built a lot of his cut his teeth in stage and play acting, because I have to believe it's probably more challenging than anything. But I think that, you know, guys, you know, our process is a little different from the ladies. The ladies have so much class than the guys do. Like, we call each other nicknames in public. You know, we don't care who's around. And hey, you know, hey, meathead, biscuit, you know, doofus. You know, you don't see ladies at a dinner party calling each other, can you pass the sugar, doofus? The ladies don't do that, you know, normally, you know. Hey, meathead, I don't have enough sugar. Can you? Anyway, but I love, but I do love the different styles that people have when it comes to preparing for a role. Everybody has their own process. So I got to ask you this, though, Karina. Have you ever had a moment in acting that was a crossroads experience where you were like, you not sure that you wanted to continue doing this?
Probably, I think maybe 7 or so years ago.
Okay.
And it wasn't because of the work itself, not because I had anything bad or negative happen to me as an actor. But, you know, just like everyone else, you know, I'm not famous. I'm not making $1 million. And my husband and I were experiencing some financial difficulties. And it was just coming to that head where I was probably going to have to pursue another career full time and not be able to really pursue acting.
Right.
And so it was just kind of that moment of, what am I going to do? Like, is this something I'm going to have to give up? Because I need to focus on, you know, just being able to exist and pay bills and keep a roof over my head, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So yeah. But fortunately, we figured it out, and I'm still able to pursue acting and create and be artistic and all of it. Yeah.
Well, thank God. I'm glad you continued. You are a terrific actress. And I think that happens, you know, in this business a lot with people, whether it's comedy or acting. I mean, there comes a point where, and the reasons are not necessarily the same. I mean, it could be financial issues. And the bottom line is, you know, when it comes to acting, well, heck, comedy, same deal. If you're not like an A-lister, if you're not one of those guys like a Tom Hanks or Brad Pitt or someone of that ilk or background, you know, it can be hard.
Absolutely. You know? It's a gig. It's contract work, essentially. So, you know, a lot of your job is trying to find a job, is trying to get cast in a job. Yeah.
And there are names out, you know, when you get to that point where you've really just, you've hit the home run with a couple of films. It's like, it's no longer about that anymore. It's strictly whatever you want to do when you want to do it. And you end up getting just that script that was tailor-made in that subject or topic that you personally want to tackle, you know what I mean? But you know, until you get to that level, and then in comedy and acting again can be the same thing. You know, it's just, you get to the point where you get frustrated and it's like, good gosh, you're grinding, and you just like, man, when am I going to break through? Or when am I going to have that perfect set or whatever? And I've seen a lot of, listen, I'm sure you've seen the same thing. I've seen a lot of very talented people, Karina, quit because they just didn't have it in them anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, very talented.
Sure.
You know, but this is a game of endurance. This is a long fight that has to be born from a great, intense inner love, or you won't continue.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
Yeah, all these like people who we say like overnight successes. It's like, oh no, sorry, they put like 7 to 15 years of work for that overnight success. But okay.
It is definitely not that simple. Chris Rock, the comedian, when he started out, his first 5 or 6 performances, he absolutely destroyed. Chris Rock. He's a young comic, and he just thought he was going to do that every time.
Right.
Like, I got this. And he started bombing. And he was like, what is this? This is you not respecting the craft. It's not as easy as you thought.
Yeah.
Now, Chris Rock's one of the best comics ever.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the best. But the process is hard work, failing,
yes,
over and over and over again. You know, and in acting, it's like you didn't win that audition over and over again. It's like, man, when am I going to win an audition? And then, boom, you get it. I know the first 2 films I auditioned for, I won.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
And I thought it was always going to be like that. And guess what, Karina?
You get spoiled really fast.
It ain't like that. And so that, you know, it's a hard lesson, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But in failure, that's where the growth is.
Exactly. And you keep going and keep going. And all of a sudden, I mean, you just become a pearl. But you just got to stay in the end game. Like I said, I've seen a lot of talented people just stop, and they had it, and they had everything. Matter of fact, I've seen people that, in my mind, were arguably some of the best I've ever seen, but they quit. They quit. They just couldn't do it. It's just a hard fight, and you got to love doing this stuff. So what advice, with all of that being said, can you leave with young people out there, Karina, that are contemplating acting for a career?
Don't quit your day job.
Yes, don't do that.
Don't quit your day job. Just because you book a few things, it's not always going to be like that. There are going to be very dry times.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't quit your day job. Pursue things, other things that interest you, whatever those may be. Again, you know, you have to be a whole person.
Yeah.
And have experiences. You have to experience life in order to bring a performance to life. You have to be a person on just existing in the world. So yeah, don't quit your day job. Be a whole person. Have other experiences, and just be respectful of yourself and others. Be pleasant. You know, everyone who does this does it for the love of it. The amount of people who do this and aren't rich are far more than the people who do this and who are famous and rich. And so yeah, just be professional, be a whole person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you ever met Steve Shermet by any chance?
No, I have not.
Steve was on, oh my gosh, I think he was on episodes 6 and 7 of The Chosen. But okay. I know how it is in acting. A lot of times you don't meet a lot of people that you're on the same film with or what have you. But he gave the same advice, parting advice that you did about, you know, acting. Don't quit your day job because it is not something that you can hang your hat on for a living. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? This is something that's all about love and joy, and you just want to be a part of it. But you've got to have some type of sustenance that will allow you to pursue this passion. Yeah. You know, because it's not a quick reward there at all. And you mentioned a student film. You're like, okay, I'm going to do a student film. It's a low budget film, and the younger people don't understand. You need to do that film. Yeah. You need to do that.
That is, student films are the best places to cut your teeth if you are starting out as an actor, because you are learning right alongside other filmmakers who are also learning. So you're learning together.
Exactly.
Absolutely invaluable. So yes, that's another thing I would say. Yes, do student films.
Do student films, because then also you have something to add to your reel also. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, make sure you get the reel, because not all students are really good about providing the footage after they're done. That's their assignment. Like their films are an assignment. So once they're done, they're on to the next thing. So get on them about it.
Oh yeah, you absolutely have to get on them about that. You got to get that film. Mm-hmm. So great advice. Great advice. Do you have any upcoming projects on the horizon?
Yeah, I just recently shot footage for the Out of Ink Theater Festival. Normally that would be on stage, but since we can't do that, they changed the format this year to go to video. So I just did that, and that'll I'm actually not sure of the release dates. I wish I'd written that down. But yeah, the Out of Ink Festival, sponsored by Scriptworks out of Austin, Texas.
Okay.
Doing that. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And how can fans follow you on social media or by website?
On Instagram, my handle is How Many Karinas Do You Know? Karina spelled Karina, like Katrina, no T. And then my website, karinadominguez.com. And then if anyone has booking, my agency is Tag Talent Agency at tagtalentagency.com.
Awesome stuff. Karina Dominguez. Now, if you guys have enjoyed watching this video, like and share and subscribe to the Maurice Brown Comedy Channel on YouTube. If you came in late or you were not able to watch this video in its entirety, you can watch the replay this evening at about 5 p.m. on the Creative Motion Network on Roku TV. Do you have Roku TV by any chance, Karina?
I do.
So you can watch that on the Maurice Brown series library on Creative Motion Network. That'll be on at 5 p.m. for those that did not get an opportunity to see that. So once again, Karina, on the Maurice Brown Show, Karina Dominguez. Karina, may the blessings of the Lord be upon you and your family. God bless you, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure, Maurice.
Amen.